So first of all, a little bit of a session in a nutshell. What are we actually going to be covering in our session today? So today we're talking about client education, which is when OTs provide information or strategies to help our clients or their carers understand their condition and ultimately improve their functional participation in some way. So why is it actually important that we provide effective client education rather than just giving a handout or a brochure and then ticking a box and saying, yep, done? It's really important not only for rapport building so that our clients do have faith in our abilities, but so they can also be an active participant in their therapy rather than us just throwing information at them. So what the education looks like will vary depending on sort of the caseload we're working within and the people we're working with. We could be talking about or providing education about managing risks, such as with falls prevention education, or helping somebody improve their upper limb function through educating them about an upper limb home exercise program. Or we could also be providing education to carers to help them understand the person that they're looking after, their condition, and how they can improve their skills. But how do we know what to include in our education session so that it actually works? We want to be able to give the most important information in a format that our clients understand, or while fitting that into the actual time that we have available to work with them. Because in general, OTs don't have an infinite amount of time to spend with every single client, so we need to be quite targeted in what we're focusing on. So it's going to be quite tricky, especially if you're an OT student or a new grad, and you've got to try and make all these decisions and then explain that reasoning to your supervisor about why did you decide to provide the education in the way that you did. So to help you out, I've created a framework, and who doesn't love a framework, but this one's called RALFEY. So I'll run you through what the letter of the acronym stands for, and we'll go through each step in a lot more detail in the actual webinar. But R is for readiness. So what information are they actually ready for based on where they're up to in their therapy journey? A is for amount. So how much information should we give them and what should be prioritized based on the time we have available to work with them? L is for language. So we need to think about our clients' health literacy and any cultural considerations so they can actually understand the information and any examples that we might provide. F is for format. So we shouldn't just default to a written brochure for everybody. We can get creative and actually consider whether demonstrations or scenario-based problems or videos could be a really helpful part of that education process too. E is for evaluate. So we need to make sure that we're checking how much they actually understood before we leave that session and not just assuming, yep, it all sunk in, they know everything we've just told them, and make sure we're giving them opportunities to ask questions. And then finally, Y is for you're not done yet. So all good OT should have some sort of follow-up, and it's the same for education sessions. So for education, this includes reflecting on whether your plan actually worked and what you delivered. And if it didn't, what will you do differently next time to help the client understand that information you're providing? And it also means considering longer term follow-up so that it's not just a one-off, yep, they remembered it now, they remembered it next week, but how are they going to remember that information going forward and actually applying it in their day-to-day life? So that's what RALFEY's all about. We're going to do a deep dive into each of those steps. And as always, we'll do some case studies so you can see what this actually looks like in your everyday practice. And then for the keen beans, there'll be a little bit of a wrap-up section with some ideas for your homework practice. So lots to get through. So we'll dive right in.